What if I told you the reason your electricity bill rises, the reason tomato prices suddenly explode, and the reason India faces brutal heat waves might begin thousands of kilometers away in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? No war, no policy failure, no economic collapse, just warm ocean water. And when that water gets too warm, it creates something scientists fear across the world: Super El Nino.
El Nino.
El Niño.
El Niño.
The world has officially entered an El Nino phase.
It can mean devastating floods, extreme droughts, intense heat waves.
Something is shifting in the Pacific Ocean. Slow, powerful buildup of heat, spanning thousands of kilometers. Possibly the strongest El Nino event in 140 years.
The question now is, what will happen next?
Is this being considered as a sort of a national emergency at all?
IMD has predicted a 60% chance of a deficit monsoon. Back then, millions died because of intense droughts and famines around the world, including in India.
Are we entering a new era of extreme climate chaos, unlike anything humanity has ever experienced before?
A climate event powerful enough to disrupt India's monsoon, damage crops, and shake the entire economy. So, is it time that we understand and acknowledge the risk of Super El Nino? And when it comes to India, a country that is heavily dependent on the monsoon, how does Super El Nino affect us, our farmers and businesses? It is a national risk, and let us dive deeper into the story of Super El Nino. Firstly, let's understand what is El Nino. Imagine the Pacific Ocean as a giant bathtub. Normally, strong winds called trade winds push warm surface water from South America towards Asia and Australia. This causes warm water to pile up in the Western Pacific and cold water to rise near South America. This balance powers a massive atmospheric engine called the Walker circulation. And believe it or not, this system quietly influences weather across the entire planet. Now imagine those winds suddenly weaken. The warm water begins moving back east. Cold water stops rising. The eastern Pacific starts heating up. This abnormal warming is called El Nino. The opposite of this is La Nina, and together they make up the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Now sometimes this warming that causes El Nino becomes extreme. Sea surface temperatures rise by more than 2 degrees Celsius above normal. And when that happens, El Nino transforms into something far more dangerous: the Super El Nino. And now there's a new concern. Climate scientists say global warming is lowering the threshold for these extreme events, which means even if emissions stabilize, Super El Nino may become more frequent. From once every 22 years to once every 10 years. This is alarming. I say this because in the past, Super El Nino has had massive implications across the entire history. Firstly, 1877-78, it was one of the strongest El Ninos ever recorded. It contributed to devastating famines across India, China, Brazil, and Africa, with over 50 million lives were lost. Then came 1997-98, a climate disaster of modern times. It caused massive floods in South America, droughts in Asia, coral reef destruction, and disease outbreaks. Economic losses crossed trillions of dollars. And recently, the 2023-24 El Nino pushed global temperatures to record highs. Heat waves intensified, crop failures increased, entire ecosystems came under stress. This is why scientists no longer see Super El Nino as a rare weather curiosity. They see it as a planetary threat. Now let's talk about India and why we need to worry. India receives nearly 80% of its annual rainfall from the summer monsoon. That monsoon is the backbone of agriculture, water supply, hydropower, food security, and Super El Nino directly attacks all of them. Here's how. Normally, India's hot landmass creates low pressure that pulls moisture-rich winds inland from the Indian Ocean. But During El Nino, the Pacific warming shifts atmospheric circulations. This weakens the entire monsoon engine. The result? Delayed rainfall, rainfall deficits, long dry spells, and weaker crop growth. For Indian farmers, this is devastating. Paddy fields dry, pulses crop fail to germinate, sugarcane suffers water stress, and dry heat creates ideal conditions for pest outbreaks. But the danger doesn't stop here. A weak monsoon triggers a chain reaction. Less rain leads to lower reservoir levels. Lower reservoir means reduced hydropower, and reduced hydropower leads to more coal use, and more coal use leads to more emissions. At the same time, farmers pump more groundwater, cities consume more electricity for cooling, power grids come under pressure, food prices rise, inflation increases, a climate event becomes an economic crisis. This is called the water, energy, food nexus, and India sits right at its center. And it could get even worse with the Middle East crisis and trade wars that are already boiling up the Indian economy. Well, having said this, there is a silver lining as well. India is not helpless, and there are certain practical solutions that can help us navigate through the potential crisis. Firstly, better forecasting. Farmers need hyper-local weather warnings, not broad national forecasts. Village level prediction systems can help farmers decide exactly when to sow. The Bharat Forecast System is a great initiative in this regard. It enhances India's weather prediction resolution from 12 kilometers to 6 kilometers, enabling every village in India to access more precise and location-specific forecasts. Secondly, crop diversification. India must reduce dependence on water-intensive crops like rice and sugarcane in the vulnerable regions. The future lies in millets, pulses, and oilseeds. The government has been taking active steps in all these domains, like promotion of millets as superfood, national mission on pulses and oilseeds, among others. These crops survive with less water and provides a long-term solution to India's water crisis. Thirdly, efficient irrigation. Drip and sprinkler systems can save up to 50% water. When combined with solar pumps, they reduce pressure on the power grid. PM Kusum is a notable initiative in this regard. Fourth, decentralized water storage, check dams, rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge, all of which help create local resilience. Super El Nino is not just about warm ocean water. It is a reminder that in our interconnected world, a temperature shift in the Pacific can decide the fate of a farmer in Maharashtra, a reservoir in Punjab, or food prices in Delhi. For UPSC aspirants, this is geography, environment, economy, disaster management, all in one topic. But beyond the exam, this is about understanding the invisible systems that shape our future. The real question is not, will Super El Nino return? It will. The question is, will we be prepared when it does? Only time will tell.